Hello and welcome to How We Made It in Africa. I am Adetunji Omotola. Joining me today is Mosunmola Umoru. Mosunmola is CEO of Farmshoppe, and she's very passionate about farming and the community. Now, Farmshoppe is an agribusiness, and Mosunmola is here to tell us all about agribusiness. Welcome to How We Made It in Africa.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with you today.
Now, Mosunmola, give us a brief overview of what your company, Farmshoppe, does.
Okay, Farmshoppe is a retail chain. We're a specialty grocery store where you can pick your fresh farm produce, from your beef to your pork to your chicken and vegetables. And we also have the household grocery section where you can get pantry items. In fact, that division within the company and the business is called pantry items. We were born out of a farming business. I started off a company called Honeysuckles TL Ventures, where I was primarily involved with the production of chickens, vegetables, snails, catfish. And somewhere along the line, we had projected that by 2020, we would actually be launching into the retail space, moving a bit away from primary production. And as well, by a stroke of divinity, we had the COVID-19 crisis last year, and we actually did launch our first high street outlet in Bagada, in Lagos, towards the end of 2020. So I guess that the universe does listen to your heart's desire is the only response I have to all that has happened to the brand over the years.
Okay, now tell us about the early days of your company. How did you start out? How did you secure your first customers?
Early days, those were some days, I have to say to you. So straight out of college, I had refused to get a paid job, a full-time job, and my father was a bit concerned. And I had found my hands in, I tried my hands in a lot of things. And fortunately for me, my father had reported me to a family friend of ours who eventually then invited me to have a chat. You know how the aunties always think they have an opinion and they have a say, I have a piece of advice for you. And I had gone, and this woman turned out to be the head of the procurement company for a fast food chain at the time. And what that did for me was, of course, the entrepreneur in me did not see the auntie. All I saw was the opportunities en route her office. So I had to go through their warehouse, their inventory warehouse, to get to her desk. And my first question to her was, do you have difficulties with your supply chain? And she said, oh, tons of challenges. And I said, I'm sure that I could help you fix some of them. And that was how my foray into the food retailing and food supply business started. And two of the products she said they had challenges with all year round were chickens, that's poultry-related products, and snails. And trust a young girl, all I did was just jump up on the plane to go register a company. I was extremely foolish because I could have done the business registration in Lagos, but I had no business knowledge. So I hopped on the plane. I went to CAC in Abuja to register a company and then came back to Lagos to trade. Fast forward, they became my first corporate clients. I had done a few family and friends so backtrack, when I was in university, I was involved in business. I was trading juices. I was literally the first person in Lagos to put Zobo drink in a tamper-proof bottle. I was the first one to put Zobo in sachets, like pure water, like what we have on the street. And so I evolved from that to this new business. And I was baking, by the way. I was baking cakes and bread. So it was easy to transition and convert my clients from the businesses that I had over the years into my new clients in the food, in the agricultural chain. So that exposure to that company led me to begin to think broader about the opportunities that I could take advantage of. So I moved from just poultry to snails. Then I tried my hands on catfish, processing and packaging. And it's been very exciting, I must say.
Now tell us, Mosunmola, how did you finance your business, Farmshoppe? How did you finance it?
Okay, so recall that I had a running enterprise, honeysuckles, prior to the time that Farmshoppe came to full presentation to the world. So I had a bit of savings somewhere along the line. I raised a lot of capital from family and friends. I never tell my story without telling the painful part. So by my 27th birthday, somewhere, I had lost 27 million naira. I was in debt. I went completely bankrupt because I had taken my first institutional loan, and that didn't go as well as I planned. And I'd also borrowed money from loan sharks along the way because trading food products and supplying retail chains, QSRs, you needed sufficient working capital because they never paid cash. So it was a credit-based transaction. So I needed liquidity to constantly trade. And for that to happen, I was always looking for cash. And that's why I think the phrase cash is king. So I did borrow money a lot in my early days. I mean, I did raise money. But my first port of call were friends and family. I mean, I had very supportive uncles, my foster dad. I evolved into getting employment somewhere along the line where I began to actually sell my intellectual property and knowledge for income. And that also helped. So as I grew in the business, I could charge more. I was always invited to tables where I could offer consultancy services around farm development because I had also owned my skills in that space. So Farmshoppe has leveraged greatly my expertise and foray in the industry. Today, it's easier to talk to a few banks. Very recently, without sounding like I'm promoting any particular bank, we've had a very exciting relationship with First City Monument Bank, FCMB, in Lagos. They've been very supportive, and I haven't left my family and friends. You know, it's for me, it's always easier. So that's been my first port of call, where now I'm even beginning to have conversations around selling some equity to some friends to also take the business to the very next level, because I'm just hoping that I could hand the reins in to someone more competent than me somewhere along the line, because there's no Farmshoppe without a succession plan. So there are many sides to this woman, and I want to fully live and explore all of those sides. So yes, so right now we're at that point where conversations are around raising our equity from, again, friends and family foremost, before we go raise real equity from the capital market.
Okay, give us a sense of your revenue module. How do you arrive at pricing?
So pricing is a very interesting question because there's constant benchmarking against competition, but we're very clear. We're very clear because our value proposition is to sell quality and freshness to our customers. So there's a personal tone to us pricing our product. We try as much as possible to ensure that we do not overprice ourselves and we do not underprice ourselves. So it's got to be profitable for us to keep those markups and margins on the price placement that we offer to our clients. However, we have different type of clients. We have premium clients who want bespoke service, and for that we do charge a premium fee for the products that we deliver to them. And some of those products include our, but not limited to, our whole range turkeys, free range free-range birds. So our turkeys, we have turkeys that are highly priced because those are specifically raised to serve that market, that niche. We have interesting products around from our grill house, where we do our smokehouse, where we do smoked variants of most of our products. So you can get a smoked turkey, you can get a smoked ham, smoked bacon, smoked pork, and products like that. So we have those interesting product range. And so that's priced on demand because, again, everything is handcrafted, curated from the start. So the recipes, the ingredients are not flavors that you can pick off the shelf because we work around the requirement and priority of our consumers.
Right. Give us a sense of your typical customer.
So my typical customer is the woman or man who's living in Lagos, has a busy schedule, is not ready for the discomfort of going to the open market to source fresh farm produce and wants quality and is concerned about freshness, is very interested in the environment and the hygienic condition to which his food produce or product has been subjected to. So if you're very particular about your food source, then those are the people we cater for. So it's sometimes not so much about the volume or the quantity, but more focused on the quality of the products that you get. So if I take a reference from the COVID times, our clients do not want to be caught dead on the high streets where the vendor is not wearing a nose mask or is not wearing a pair of gloves or is not paying attention to phytosanitary issues and cannot guarantee that the staff or the workforce are not COVID positive. So those are the kind of people we cater for. We have a lot of clients in the expert community. We do have a very interesting demography of clients, and these are the elderly. You know, they're so particular about what they consume, extremely concerned about the content, from nutrient. They want their food product to be nutrient dense. They also want their food products to be safe. So can we guarantee them that the exposure of their food to the residues from things like synthetic fertilizer, if we can guarantee, then we have those people happy to shop with us. With our meat products, they're very excited about animals that are not being exposed to a lot of synthetic hormones. So feeding should be largely plant-based. We would not say organic, we would say naturally raised, because fields around our farms, some of them are exposed to synthetic fertilizers. And so to be able to reach out to a wider range of clients, we do work with a number of contract farmers who we share our internal protocols with and equip them to be able to meet this requirement in a fashion that helps us serve our client base better.
Okay. How competitive is your industry, and who are your competitors, and what's your competitive advantage? How do you differentiate yourself from your competitors?
So over the years, it was very exciting because in the early days, I mean, as I'm saying, 16 years ago when I moved into the sector, it was not particularly competitive as it is today. And I'll explain. So the main players back in the days were not indigenous firms. There were just a few indigenous firms that played at the level that we're excited to play at today. So you had a lot of Lebanese stores, Indian run or managed retail stores. We eventually evolved as a society into hosting South African based brands like ShopRite and Game. But very recently, with technology, the competition is actually as basic as your next door neighbor on Instagram, who sees that you're moving trucks of food out on a daily basis and say, oh, this business must be viable. And then they also tend to just go in and try their fingers. Whether they succeed at it or they deliver value is a totally different conversation. But we have a lot of spoilers in the game today. And it's about survival, right? So everyone is trying to survive. So we differentiate ourselves with our many value propositions. And one of the first things that we sell, it's a personalized service to everyone. Everyone. So we're selling retail convenience. We're selling relationship that has been nurtured. I mean, we have clients that date back as 15 years ago when I founded the business. And for them to stay, there's loyalty to the brand on one hand. But on the other hand, in another vein is the fact that we keep evolving. So we're constantly adapting technology to improve our operations. We're at the point now where we're beginning to study very critically from the back end of our supply chain how to track the food source, especially produce that don't come directly from our stables. How do we begin to leverage artificial intelligence? How do we begin to leverage technology to drive our inventory and track produce to as minute a detail as the date it was harvested, so that we can guarantee consumers value in terms of freshness, and also ensure that we invest heavily. We do invest heavily in power for storage of our frozen and meat products, meat-based products, because we do not want produce to go rancid or meat to go rancid or for vegetables to go stale and for consumers to buy from us and go home and do. So traceability is a big component of our USP. In addition to traceability is the fact that we have, we do delivery to our clients. So we provide retail convenience. So whilst we have a physical outlet where clients come to shop, we also provide that back-end service where you can actually either do tele-shopping, where you join a video conference and you pick out products that you want and it's packed in your shopping cart and it's delivered to you. We also have the fact that clients can actually schedule payment. They have bundles where they can schedule their shopping to fit into their own time frame, and then as we build relationship and we track consuming patterns, consumption patterns for some of our clients, they don't necessarily need to come to the store. We have clients that we've never physically met over the last 8 years who've shopped consistently month in, month out. So what I say to people is that we're not just selling product, we're selling an experience. So when we sell to our clients, it's beyond the items that they buy. It's the memory that we live with them when they shop. It's the experience from the ease of shopping. It's the fact that we remember for some it's their birthdays. For some it's that when their children are having significant functions, we show up. When they're ill, we're also available. So it's a bespoke service for everyone. It's not your conventional retail business. So it takes a lot from me as a visionary to sustain that tempo, have beautiful, harmonious relationships with customers, some virtual, some interpersonal physically, and some being referrals that we've had to nurture significantly over the years. So it's very exciting. We show care to all of our clients, and I mean care.
Okay. Tell us, what trends do you see in the Nigerian agriculture space, the industry, and also give us a sense, what new crops are farmers growing now?
That's a very interesting question because our palettes are changing. So over the years, there've been the story and narrative around, oh, this doesn't grow in the Southwest. Oh, this can only come from the North. tomatoes can only survive in the north. Cattle has to be restricted to the north. But in the last 10 years, since we started treating agriculture, when we transitioned from the transformation agenda to this time, we've moved a lot away from farming as a development plan to farming as a business and to agribusiness proper. So people are now beginning to grow ornamental plants. People are beginning to invest heavily in greenhouses where we can now do production all year round for commodities like green bell peppers, tomatoes, that's capsicums as bell peppers. Even for chilies, we now have people investing heavily in the production of certain fruits, even as much as strawberries are now being grown in Nigeria. We're beginning to see people invest in processing. So we're processing fruits like mangoes, pineapples into candied, into dried fruits, dried options that we can now dried variants that we can snack on. We're beginning to see the emergence of a lot of production of juices and smoothies. We're beginning to see a lot of snack around with products like sesame, coconut. So many are beginning to spring up. People are beginning to think out of the box. We're beginning to look at people make dried powdered tomatoes. People are beginning to make a lot of purees. People are beginning to make a lot of pickles and sauces. So there's an emergence of new products that were over the years were limited to importation. So now we have local variants. I mean, people are beginning to package things like our local locust beans. And they're not just packaging for local consumption, we're beginning to package them for export. So Nigeria is moving to the world. In Nigeria, food items are beginning to sit on the shelf of retail chains in the United States and in Europe conveniently. Our gari, which is from our largest produced staple, cassava, is being consumed in different variants all over the world. So it's not limited to Nigerians in diaspora. You now begin to have people consume gari. People are buying our yams. People are buying plantains. We're making plantain chips. Across the world, we're exporting dried catfish globally. We're beginning to see yam flour move out of Nigeria in tons. We're beginning to see plantain flour move out in tons. We had the issues with the EU around beans a few years ago, but doesn't change the fact that beans and a few other, our indigenous vegetables are being dried. Ugu, ewedu. You know, one of the, as you know, during COVID-19, it was projected that, people were going to be dying on the streets of Africa. But to the surprise of the world, the whole world woke up to see that even in Africa, we had the lowest incidences of COVID-19 infection.
Right.
Yes.
So what are currently the biggest challenges or hindrances to doing business in Nigeria? Three key things that you will highlight for us.
Security.
Tell us a little bit more about that.
So, as you know, when you're in a stable economic environment, if you're in an unstable environment, it impacts not only your ability to move around, but even your ability to be creative and productive. Farmers not being safe, food processors not being able to go to their businesses is beginning to impact the food supply chain. Because what is happening is that in an unsafe society, people begin to look for safety nets. And safety nets may be as far as migrating to another country, which is why you're seeing a lot of movement towards Canada. So we have a lot of young professionals looking for greener pastures, looking for a more stable environment. Younger couples are beginning to reconsider their allegiance to their country. So security is a big issue as it stands. Now, beyond security, the other challenge that has been over the years is the infrastructure deficit. If you do not have good road access, no matter how good your production is, your turnaround time for moving finished goods to the market is a big deterrent for success. So whereas in developed countries, you put your produce on a coach, on a train, and move them to market, here, there's a lot of deterioration, especially around fresh produce. So we do not have the huge capacity that we require for processing yet. So I lump it all under infrastructure. So it's infrastructure around power, and lack of infrastructure around cold chain facilities. So whether mobile cold storage or even physical fixed cold storage facilities around the production hubs, that is not available. So that's a big deterrent. Okay. There's also the knowledge gap, knowledge deficit, where indigenous knowledge is what a lot of people depend on. And so that then comes to the issue around technology, the issue around innovation, the inability of businesses to adopt new technology, which will then take us to the financial deficits within the economy.
All right. So what next for Farmshoppe? What's the next vision?
So it's for us, that's also very exciting. I'm happy to answer that because we're thinking about strengthening our base and ensuring that we can cater for more people. We want to scale our delivery offerings in a manner that we do not lose the core of the real essence. We are a caring, nurturing business. We care for all of our consumers. And we want to ensure that even as we scale up, as we try to attract investment for growth, we do not lose the essence of the brand, which is providing care and providing value and bringing fresh produce to people in a convenient fashion. So we are at the point where we're looking at scaling our reach within communities and working with more smallholder farmers and a lot more farming families, where we can teach them what we have learned over the years that has made us strong and watch them all grow with us. But I'm at that crossroad where the most important thing to me right now is impact. How do I ensure that my life, my journey, my experiences leave people better? Both my internal clients, those are the people that work with me, the team that help my armor bearers and anchor bearers who help keep this vision alive, both the ones that are here now and the ones we're yet to identify. And also, how do I ensure that in the larger society, my love for country, love for Nigeria, love for the continent does not wax or go cold, that I am able to be the best version of me and add value to the broader society. So it's not just about making money. There is a strong desire to earn decent income, but there's a stronger desire to create impact on the long term and leave my footprint significantly in the sands of time.